Hello everybody and welcome to Northeast Ohio Now, where we shine the light on the people and organizations shaping neighborhoods throughout Cleveland. Today we're stepping into one of Cleveland's most beloved cultural districts, Little Italy. Known for its deep-rooted heritage, art scene, and family-run restaurants, this neighborhood is more than just a destination. It's a living, breathing community with a rich past and a promising future. And joining us now is the Executive Director of the Little Italy Redevelopment Corporation, Joe Marinucci. Joe, appreciate the time so much. For those that don't know, what is the mission of the Little Italy Redevelopment Corporation?
Well, the Little Italy Redevelopment Corporation is a nonprofit organization that represents the neighborhood, or Little Italy. It is a community development corporation, and we, like many community development corporations within the city of Cleveland, work to improve the neighborhood, to enrich it, to respect its history and heritage. But most importantly, we try to work with everybody to make sure that they have a live, work, and play experience that's very, very successful.
So with a redevelopment corporation, in an area like Little Italy, which has the historic charm that everybody loves, and what is that a challenge for a redevelopment? Because I would imagine as you look forward, you want to embrace the past.
Well, obviously, everybody knows Little Italy. They know it for the Feast of the Assumption coming up in August. They know it for the restaurants and a lot of the great culinary experiences they have there. But it is a place, it's a residential neighborhood. There are people that have lived there for decades. There's family that have been there for years and years. I'm an immigrant to the city of Cleveland. I actually migrated to Cleveland in 1956 and came to Little Italy and grew up in Little Italy. So it's that rich history that also is incorporated. And a lot of times people don't see that side of the neighborhood. So what we try to do, and we're, by the way, are a landmark district within the city of Cleveland, is to protect that history, to celebrate that heritage, and to ensure that the elements that make it historical remain intact. There's a lot of pressure in the neighborhood, for example, to take an older structure, to tear it down, to build a new, more expensive home or building. And what we want to try to do is protect that history, protect the architecture, protect what makes us historical, and at the same time, celebrate the businesses, celebrate the restaurants, and continue to ensure that people coming to the neighborhood have a great experience.
So as a landmark district, what does that do? And I imagine it makes a redevelopment corporation a little bit more challenging because you do have to walk that line.
You're right, we do have to walk that line. A number of years ago, we worked with the community, we worked with our block club, we worked with our neighborhood residents to create a set of design guidelines. We are the only historic district in the city of Cleveland that's recognized by the Cleveland Planning Commission that put a series of design guidelines in place. And what that means is a current resident or building owner or a new investor considers investing in the neighborhood or changing any of the physical attributes of a building or a home, they've got to go through a process. And through that process, we help to navigate people through it, but more importantly, we work with the City Landmarks Commission to ensure that that historical element, that architectural element remains intact, and we continue to celebrate that history and the varied architecture that we have in the neighborhood.
What are some of the major projects or initiatives that are shaping the future of Little Italy that are going on now?
Well, if you look at Little Italy, we obviously are a community of institutions that have been long-standing. The Alta House, for example, it was born, actually it was created by John Rockefeller on the basis of his daughter Alta, and it was a settlement house in the community. Holy Rosary Church, another great institution. The Italian American Museum of Northeast Ohio, located there. So all of these institutions help us move the neighborhood forward. So for us, the challenge is how do we look at development opportunities? And there are very few remaining what I would call build-up sites in the neighborhood. So we're looking to say, how do we work with potential developers on those sites? But more importantly, how do we make sure that those investments in actuality blend in well? We had, for example, a developer called Alpha Builders who built a project on Cornell, right near Cornell and Random. We worked with the block club to get community input. They modified their design to make it reflective of the homes that were on that site prior to demolition, and we're able to work with them as they built, I think, a 14-unit complex there. So that's part of the challenge, is how do we balance those investments and the pressures to respect that historical aspects of the neighborhood.
You mentioned that. as a guy who has lived there all your life, you mentioned.
I don't live there now. I grew up there.
But you understand
Yeah.
the history. What does that do for the job that you're doing now? That has to have an impact on kind of your thoughts and your passion for it.
Well, I joined the Little Italy Redevelopment Corporation about 3 years ago. My predecessor was the executive director for 27 years. He also was a neighborhood resident. And for me, it's returning to my roots. It's the passion that I have as an Italian American here in Northeast Ohio and in Cleveland. It's an opportunity to give back. I actually technically retired from my full-time position in the nonprofit world a number of years ago, and the board asked me to come in on a short-term basis to help navigate as they look to their future. So for me, it's again reflective of my history and my passion for the neighborhood.
What's your long-term vision for kind of developing the neighborhood and in how it grows?
Well, again, what we want to do is make sure that its growth is reflective of the design guidelines that we put in place. So any future investment or any future modifications to our existing housing stock, for example, respects the history, and we celebrate that history through the architectural investments that are made. Secondly, again, although Little Italy is well known in Northeast Ohio, I think it's a great brand that's recognized across the country. So if you think about it, if you say Little Italy and you're in San Diego, or if you say Little Italy you're in New York, if you say Little Italy and you're in Cleveland, I want people to kind of clearly understand what the experience represents. In fact, I'm pleased to say that National Geographic had an article very recently that named our Little Italy as one of the 8 best Little Italies in the United States. So we want to build on that brand and make sure, again, we're celebrating our heritage, celebrating our history, at the same time welcoming new residents, current residents, as well as visitors to the neighborhood.
How has the neighborhood and the longtime residents kind of embraced the redevelopment corporation?
Well, they've embraced us, but it's also a challenge. Because if you think about it, if you're a generational family that your grandparents lived in the home, your parents, now you're living in the home, what you want to do is respect that history. And obviously, we have a number of older residents in Little Italy. The pressures of new investments sometimes and the tax implications of that are difficult. So we want to respect that, but we also want them to continue to live there, feel comfortable, continue to go to Holy Rosary Church, continue to take advantage of the institutions. But we want to make sure that, again, we respect that history and make sure that they can continue to live in those homes and do so in a very productive way.
Is that one of the biggest challenges of your job, is to kind of balance the rich history and hey, let's move forward?
It is, because again, we're in University Circle. There's a lot of pressure at times to continue to build. You have employees in University Circle, you have students in University Circle, so that pressure exists to build new. And again, what we want to do is not necessarily cut that off, but we want to temper it so that it reflects the history of the neighborhood, and we do so in a way that allows that historic fabric to remain in place.
Joe Marinucci, thanks so much for the time. Appreciate it. One of my favorite neighborhoods in all of the city, Little Italy. Joe is the Executive Director of Little Italy Redevelopment Corporation. We are going to take a quick time out on Northeast Ohio Now. We will continue talking about Little Italy. Stay with us.
Dear moms and dads, what you have achieved here today is going to help us and our futures. It is why we are coming up on stage to collect your diplomas.
You know it's true.
Mom, we love you always.
Everything I do.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
Northeast Ohio Now continues, and we continue to shine the spotlight on Little Italy. Let's welcome Chris Giancola, who is the owner of Mount Granita, business down in Little Italy. Chris, appreciate you joining us. What inspired you to open Mount Granita? Why'd you choose Little Italy for the spot where you opened your business?
Yeah, so we're really inspired by our traditional Sicilian heritage. My family immigrated from Sicily to Little Italy back in the 50s. And ever since then, there's been a really strong connection to the neighborhood. So I grew up going down there on the weekends and hanging out with my aunt at her beauty shop. And so it's a kind of natural progression from that. We're really inspired by the really simple and traditional Sicilian dessert called granita, which is, in America we call it Italian ice, but it's a really simple blend of fresh fruit, sugar, and water, and it's churned sort of like sorbet or gelato, and then out comes this really simple but refreshing dish that you can enjoy in the summer months.
So your business does reflect the culture and the heritage of Little Italy.
Yeah, we try everything down from the striped awning to the walk-up windows, to the really historical elements of the interior, the tin ceiling, the brickwork, and the natural floors. We really try to embrace that historical element of the neighborhood, especially the walk-up window, because as you know, Little Italy is a very walkable neighborhood. So we really love to have that sidewalk element of just waving by to people who are passing on the street and just trying to be a good neighbor.
What's the community response been like since you've opened?
Yeah, I mean, really it's about, what you put out there is what you get back. So if you try hard to be a good neighbor, you'll be well welcomed. So, just the simple fact of cleaning up the building and, putting some flowers on the sidewalk, it's really something nice for people to see when they walk by, and it sort of inspires others to do the same.
I know you're a native of the area. Has it kind of sunk in that you own a business in the cool part of Little Italy?
Yeah, it's still kind of. I still kind of have to remind myself that not a lot of people have this opportunity. My family has some property down there, so that helped a lot. And it is sort of like kind of a childhood dream come to life, where I finally get to have that sort of foothold. So it's not a lot of people have that opportunity, and I'm glad to keep that tradition going.
How do you see Little Italy kind of evolving, and how do you hope that your business is part of it?
Yeah, so when we started our business, we started as a small push cart, just right on the sidewalk on just the weekends and summer months, and that was really just a start to see, could we do this? Would people be, receptive to sort of a new business coming in? And it's been really well received. And the long-term goal, I hope, is to see even more businesses, even more small businesses, and people with passions who like to make things and bring things into the community, come into the neighborhood and see more businesses start to open their doors down the street.
At what point did you kind of realize the push cart was going to become a brick? And how long did it take for you to figure out, man, I think I can do this?
Yeah, it didn't take too long. Maybe after about 2 years, we started to think, I think the hassle of building up this shop, even though it's a huge undertaking, would be worth it, because we'll finally get our brick and mortar settled and have more opportunities to kind of spread what we love to do.
What do you think draws people to Little Italy? Not just as customers necessarily, but kind of larger the community.
Yeah, Little Italy we're really lucky to have it. It's one of the few remaining cultural centers in the city that's still, keeping the institutions going. Holy Rosary Church is a big one, the Alta House. And so I think those main things help to propel the neighborhood forward, as well as to remind everybody of the cultural roots.
Is there anything that you think people might not realize about owning a business in Little Italy until you actually do it?
Well, I'll say that you never stop working. Even when you think you're off the clock, there's always something that happens. People kind of underestimate how big the feast is as a business owner. Even if you're not on the main drag, it's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun.
What's something new with Mount Granita that you're going through this season? What's ahead, if you will?
Yeah, so we really never stop making new flavors. That's kind of what keeps us going. This year we have new for 2025 Modica chocolate. So it's a blend of really dark Modica chocolate from Sicily and milk chocolate. And that's been a really great flavor for this year. Also in August, we have two new seasonal flavors, Kyoho grape, which is like a Japanese grape, and peaches and cream. So we're always looking forward to the next month and the next new flavors.
What's the biggest selling one? What does everybody want when they get Granita?
Well, that's lemon, of course. I can't beat that original flavor. But we've seen a lot of people love, mango, strawberry, Amarena cherry, and of course chocolate, the new one.
What does it mean personally to you to kind of be a part of Little Italy and kind of moving it into the next chapter of its existence?
Yeah, it really means a lot to me, more than I sometimes realize. Like I mentioned, my family all immigrated to Little Italy, and especially my great-grandmother who just celebrated her 96th birthday. I really got a lot of inspiration from her. She used to make granita from leftover espresso, and she'd stick it in the freezer and scoop it out every once in a while. So it really is carrying forward that sort of immigrant kind of mindset of making do with what you have and trying to always better yourself. So I'm proud to kind of step in those footsteps and lead the way.
So Mount Granita is the name of it. Make sure you go check it out. Little Italy. Chris Giancola, thanks so much. Appreciate the
Thanks
time.
for having me.
Yep, best of luck to Mount Granita. I'm sure we'll be checking in down there. We are going to take one more time out here on Northeast Ohio now. We will continue to shine the spotlight on Little Italy. Stay with us.
What are you doing in there?
What's that?
I wouldn't do that. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
Welcome back to Northeast Ohio. Now we continue to shine the spotlight on Little Italy, and we're pleased to be joined by Angie Ianiro, Board President for Little Italy's Redevelopment Corporation, also Executive Director of the Northern Ohio Italian American Foundation. Angie, thanks so much for joining us. How do those two entities kind of work together?
Well, I think that we're both nonprofits, so we're both striving for what's best for the community, and it's both a labor of love. I think we work together very well. I've been down in the neighborhood for a very long time, not only as a resident, but also running my foundation and then being a part of the Little Italy Redevelopment Corporation.
How do you balance keeping the historical charm and presence with developing and growing and moving forward?
I think it's all about a balance, and I think with everything is balance is making sure that you're still staying true to who the neighborhood is. Little Italy is one of the 4 Italian parishes that we work with, and it's one of the most vibrant ones. It's great to see the old and the new working together, and I think bringing young people to the neighborhood and seeing the traditions is a really great opportunity to kind of show both sides.
So the Northern Ohio Italian American Foundation made a pretty major investment by moving into new offices in Little Italy. Why was that important from your perspective?
So it's a great opportunity for us right now. We're just celebrating 30 years as a foundation, and when the organization first started with the help of Bishop Anthony Pilla, they really wanted to have presence in Little Italy. They wanted to be a part of the neighborhood. They wanted to be a part of the community. And so we never quite found our home. And we were lucky enough this past year to work with some of our members and to actually make that a reality. We believe in the neighborhood. We want to be supportive in the neighborhood. And this is a great time for us to do this.
What does it mean to you, both personally and professionally, to kind of preserve the Italian-American culture in Northeast Ohio?
I think it's a big thing for me. I grew up in an Italian family. My parents are both Italian. My husband's parents are both Italian. I lived in Little Italy. So I think that any opportunity to give back and to kind of preserve and protect those values is really important. I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and I'm happy to bring them down there and to show them the neighborhood and to show them some of the great traditions.
How will the new home for NOIA in Little Italy expand and evolve the foundation's impact on the community, do you think?
So I think it's a great opportunity for us to have a headquarters and to be able to do events there and to showcase Little Italy in not just our building, but the wonderful restaurants, places to dine, places to shop, places to just gather together. I think it's a great opportunity for us to bring more people to the neighborhood.
What are some of the most meaningful ways that you've kind of seen the heritage celebrated and passed down from generation to generation?
I mean, I think that from the top of the hill at the Alta House and what Holy Rosary does at the bottom of the hill. I think that it all incorporates what great things we have to offer. With the Little Italy Museum has great opportunities for programming, for bringing people to the neighborhood to see different creations that they've put together. I think it's a great opportunity for families to come, walk the neighborhood, see the park, even to maybe go to Lakeview Cemetery and then dine in the neighborhood.
You mentioned long-time resident. Have you kind of seen it develop yet stay the same? I mean, if you were 20 years ago, 25 years ago, you'd probably still recognize, even though there are some new buildings.
Sure. I think it is. I think it's it's a hidden little gem. When I graduated from John Carroll University, I never thought that I would live in Little Italy. I grew up in Akron, so it wasn't really a place that we frequent very often. But when I graduated, I kind of fell in love with it. I loved the walkability. I loved having close neighbors. I loved the fact that, you felt safe. And so I still feel that way today. I think that, it's great to see all the progress with, the new restaurants, the new townhomes, the condos. But I still think it's got a lot of tradition.
So as a longtime resident, if you were going to tell somebody that wanted to come to Little Italy, a couple of places you have to go to get a feel, where would you point them?
I mean, I think going to the park is wonderful. I think it's Tony Brush Park is a very historical place to go. So I would make sure to stop there. I would definitely, make sure you stop at one of the restaurants on Mayfield Road. Mount Granita has become a favorite place of mine. My boss loves it, so I think it's a great opportunity to stop there too. And it's unique. It's a great place to bring family to, young people to. But the Alta House is great too for bocce. So,
there's a national historical thing that's kind of by there as well, Lakeview Cemetery. Mm-hmm. That's part of the neighborhood, really.
Right. It's a charm. It's a great place. A lot of people don't understand what the great things that are there, but we have wonderful tours that people can take advantage of, and it's just another wonderful place to stop in Little Italy.
What's your long-term vision for the relationship between Little Italy, the LIRC, the Development Corporation, and the NOIA?
I think it's just bringing people together, being able to celebrate Cleveland, celebrate Little Italy, making sure the neighborhood is safe for our residents, for the people that visit, for our students. I think that we've got a great relationship with, not only NOIA as me as the executive director, but me as the board chair for LIRC, and just working together to make it a great place for people to visit and be proud of.
What about challenges just in keeping that historic ethnic neighborhood alive and still moving it forward and developing it?
I mean, I think with anything, just education and making sure that the people that we have that represent us are people that, want to see the betterment of Little Italy, and making sure that they still keep with the traditions that we have.
Angie Ianiro, thank you so much. Appreciate you taking some time and talking to us about Little Italy and the things that are going on down there.
Great, thanks.
That's going to do it for this edition of Northeast Ohio Now on Little Italy. Again, we'll see you back here next time with another neighborhood from Northeast Ohio that we're going to shine the spotlight on. Until then, have a great night.